Beyond the Mic with Sean Dillon.
We're joined on the Starline by an actor, singer, and Broadway star. You've seen him in Chicago, Hairspray, and now in the second national tour of the Broadway version of Mrs. Doubtfire, playing Frank Hillard. Welcome, Brian Kalinowski.
Hello, hi.
Brian, let's go beyond the mic. You said that singing and dancing is one thing, but comedy hits different. What makes the comedy in this show punch?
The comedy in this show punches because of the timing of the show and just it also has a lot of heart to it, but the stakes are high, so the comedy really hits hard.
You were on cruise ships for 4 years performing Hairspray. How did that time prepare you for the hustle and bustle of a national tour?
Well, it's a little different because on a cruise ship, you're kind of stuck in a bubble where it's a little bit of the opposite. On tour, you're going to all these different places. On the cruise ship, we only went to like the same 5 or 6 stops. But here, you're in a new town, sometimes every day or every week or every few days. So you really have to know how to research the area that you're in and know where you're going and how to get to the theater and where the closest place to have a good lunch is.
You played the Tin Man in The Wizard of Oz and in The Music Man Singing Ice Cream Shop. What makes Frank enjoyable for you?
Frank is enjoyable because he's a lot like me. He can be a little frantic at times, but that's where the comedy really comes from.
Why are you frantic?
Just sometimes those awkward life moments get you a little, jumbled and you don't know what to say. Sometimes podcast interviews throw you. Anything could throw you. But, you just have to get your bearings and, push forward. But that's just, I don't know, how I am, I guess.
Time to throw you. Brian Kalinowski from the national tour of Mrs. Doubtfire joins us for the Rockin' 8. It's 8 random questions. Just trust your first instinct. No pressure. Favorite course is a bulldog at DeSales University.
Favorite course was definitely the theater courses, probably like movement or directing.
Cupcakes. Are you chocolate, vanilla, or strawberry?
I am vanilla cake, chocolate icing.
Very nice. Favorite balloon animal to make?
I am afraid of balloons popping. But I have made balloon animals in the past for money. And I would say a dog.
It's time for the hardest question. It's yes, no, or maybe. Do you have a specific beard care routine? Yes, no, or maybe?
Yes.
What is it?
Well, this is the first time I actually got it done professionally, but usually it's just trim, find the best line you can and shave the rest down. And I don't even put beard oil or anything in it. Best memory at St. Elizabeth in Wilmington? Best memory, probably different performances being in the chorus.
First playbill, do you know what you did with it and you still have it?
I probably still have it. It's somewhere in a box. I keep so many playbills. I actually have a drawer at home of playbills plus a huge bag, like a duffel bag of just too many playbills. I don't know what to do with them, but I don't want to throw them away.
Favorite place to vacation?
Disney or a beach.
On Disney, favorite ride?
Oh, Guardians of the Galaxy.
Really?
Yeah.
I was thinking that you'd be a Star Wars fan.
Well, yes, I do like Rise of the Resistance is probably like the second best one, but Guardians of the Galaxy, just as a ride, it's perfect.
Do you play any instruments?
I do not.
It's time for the back half with Brian Kalinowski from Mrs. Doubtfire Beyond the Mic. Everyone knows the movie and the powerhouse performance by Robin Williams. What makes the Broadway version different?
The Broadway version is different from the Robin Williams, obviously, because it's not Robin Williams. No one can be Robin Williams.
Nobody.
But this version has so much more that delivers. It has a huge tap number, a lot of great production numbers, a beautiful ballad sung by Miranda. And I think through the music and the songs, you get more of the heart of Daniel and Mrs. Doubtfire than you do in the film.
What's the section of the show you're not involved with that touches your heart?
Miranda's ballad, Let Go. I am off stage because I have to go on stage right after that. So I stand and I watch this song every single performance. And it's just so sweet. And her voice is gorgeous.
We'll talk about the rest of this cast. Who's the powerhouse people that we need to be talking about from Mrs. Doubtfire?
Well, Melissa Campbell, who plays Miranda, is incredible vocally. She's so consistent as an actress, which makes it so easy to work with someone who's like that. And of course, Craig Allen Smith, who plays Daniel slash Mrs. Doubtfire, is, I mean, you can't, it's hard to say like, oh, you have to compare them to Robin Williams, but like he delivers, and he delivers right at the beginning of the show. Like he immediately starts giving you these impersonations and you're sold right away.
What was your first role when you were at the Wilmington Drama League when you were in grade school?
I was in the ensemble of the best Christmas pageant ever with people like Aubrey Plaza, who I was did some community theater with back in the Wilmington Drama League, and Jonathan Gallagher Jr., Peppermint from Drag Race. A whole bunch of people came from the Wilmington Drama League in Wilmington, Delaware.
And what is that when you are part of such a powerhouse ensemble?
It's great. I mean, it's a wonderful feeling. And you feel really supported, too, with people who, you know, you can like rely on if you somehow something happens, if you fall or if you go up on a line or whatever, everybody has everybody's back.
Who influenced your love of music?
My dad was in a polka band before I was born. So that was like the first, like I grew up with polka music. I think that that's like the first person close to me that influenced music. Also just listening to like the Phantom of the Opera. That was a huge influence as well, musical theater wise.
Who's your favorite Phantom?
My favorite Phantom, Norm Lewis. Listening to Norm Lewis is like butter. And also Ramin Karimloo. Great.
You won the 2022 MAC Award for your work as a piano bar restaurant singer.
Yeah.
The MAC Award celebrates the best of NYC nightlife. What did winning that award mean to you?
It was great. It was a surprise. It was like only my third year or so working in the piano bar community. And I mean, I kind of campaigned a little to win this award, but it's just something that I love to do and something that's been a big part of my life, like cabaret. So to win an award for that is just like, it's icing on the cake because I get to do it and that's great. And it's not all about the awards, right? But it's nice to have something on the resume that's a little award.
So do you know where your MAC Award is right now?
It is as soon as you walk into my apartment right there on the table where we put our keys and our mail. So everybody sees it when they come in.
Everyone's like, look, it's right there, right there.
Yeah.
Kind of like my wife with any of my awards. She'll just put in like, hey, did you see what time?
Yeah, you got to remind people you're walking into an award-winning apartment.
Why does cabaret touch your soul? You were talking about how cabaret is so important to you. Why is it important?
Well, because cabaret is a different art form a little bit because you're really showing who you are. You pick the material based off of you. It's much more personal and much more intimate. And it has to do with exactly who the person really is instead of playing a character.
Which is tougher, traveling with the show or the downtime in between shows?
The like downtime in between like doing contracts or?
Yes.
It depends. We've had some crazy travel days, especially with a lot of flight delays. So those could be hard, but also schlepping booze for tourists in New York ain't easy either. And taking out the trash is pretty hard.
When you first got the call that you got the job, who did you call? Tell me about that day.
My mom immediately, right? So my aunt was visiting me in New York and we were getting ready to see Audra McDonald in Gypsy. And 5 minutes before the curtain went up, I look at my phone and it's the casting director. And I said, the casting director to Mrs. Doubtfire is calling me. I'm going to pick up. So I picked up and I said, Audra McDonald is about to go on in 5 minutes. Make it quick. And he told me that I was going to get an offer for Mrs. Doubtfire. And my aunt was like, what is going on? Why are you on the phone? The show's getting ready to start. So I immediately hung up and I said, I got to call my mom. So I called my mom and I told her and I was like, now I got to watch. And like immediately hung up the phone and the overture started.
What are the characteristics of a powerhouse performer?
A powerhouse performer, it's hard to describe because you either have it or you don't have it, right? It's like, there's something about them that it's behind the eyes that you just want to know them and you just love them, really. I mean, Jerry Zaks, who directed Mrs. Doubtfire, I'm going to misquote him terribly, but he said that laughter is falling in love with someone. So we fall in love with somebody who's just a powerhouse person. So the more they can make us laugh or the more they can make us feel, something, that is what really makes a powerhouse.
Who influences you theatrically?
I have a lot of people who are of the same type as me, like Nathan Lane and Harvey Fierstein. They're kind of the people who I was like, oh, comedy, that I can do. I can be like that person. And that's where I kind of fit into theater.
Time for the impossible question with Brian Kalinowski from Mrs. Doubtfire. How do you overcome the doubts that every performer has in the back of their mind?
Wow, that is a really good question. And it's so personal. It's different for everybody. But you just have to sometimes just accept the fact that like you don't feel like you fit in the room or you have imposter syndrome and just kind of sit in that and say, all right. But then you look around and you get to know everybody else and you get to see other people's idiosyncrasies of how they deal with that pressure or with those doubts. And you say, oh, we all have this and it is completely normal and we each deal with it in our own ways. And so you kind of have to just be cognizant of the ways that you personally deal with them.
How have you overcome imposter syndrome and when did you know you made it?
Have I made it? Oh, that's great news. How do you overcome imposter syndrome? You fake it till you make it. You just say, all right, I belong here and I'm just as good as anybody else and I deserve this. And even if you're lying to yourself or you feel like you're lying to yourself, you gotta, for 10 minutes, believe it.
It's more with Brian Kalinowski from Mrs. Doubtfire Beyond the Mic. When you're out on the road, first place you need to find in a new town, what is it? Where do you have to seek out?
Coffee. Where's the coffee? The nearest place I can go that's not hotel coffee or room coffee. We have different levels of coffee. We have room coffee, we have lobby coffee, and then we have, go out and find a good coffee shop.
What's your favorite coffee blend?
I don't know that I have a blend. I mean, my drink is a vanilla latte. And I'm trying to branch out a little. I sometimes will order if there's something special like a maple or a caramel or something, but usually I stick to a vanilla latte.
Who on the cast and crew are you the tightest with?
I am definitely tightest with Craig, who plays Mrs. Doubtfire. We just hang out a lot, and I actually, because he usually has a nicer dressing room, I go hang out in his dressing room. He's not even in it for most of the show. He's on stage, but then at intermission, he comes in and we have a little chat and, check in with how the show's going, when we just hang out outside of the show a lot. And we're brothers on stage and it's like we're brothers off stage.
When a show is going on, how do you keep focus when sometimes something doesn't go wrong?
Well, when I'm off stage, I don't keep focus. I go back to the dressing room and I sit and I probably scroll through TikTok, or I have taken up crocheting. So sometimes I'll sit and crochet and just listen in for and I have cues that I have to now I'll stand up and make my way to the stage. But on stage, you got to be really focused because anything can throw you off. The audience, people making noise in the audience, people opening a beer in the audience, or, something going wrong. So you just have to really listen to what the other person's saying. And sometimes I kind of in my head kind of repeat back a little what they're saying or the last few words of what they said to me.
What was the first Broadway show you ever saw live?
Phantom of the Opera.
Where?
I first saw it at the Forest Theater in Philadelphia. I'm from Wilmington, Delaware. It's 30 minutes from Philly. So I saw that there. And then I went and saw it at the Majestic Theater in New York.
How did performing in South Korea change the way you see performance?
So the theater audiences in Korea are so different, right? We thrive in America off of the response and the laughter. They're very polite there. So they laugh a little bit and they'll applaud when a song is completely finished. And then if it looks like somebody's going to start talking, they stop clapping. They're very, very respectful in that way. So I learned how to not rely on the audience response and just keep my timing consistent. And they loved it anyway. I mean, God, they went crazy at the end of each show. They absolutely loved it. So just because they weren't laughing and clapping along or anything doesn't mean that they didn't like it, but that's just their culture. So it's really just all about trusting that they're liking what's going on, and you just keep doing your show and telling your exact story. And don't worry about their response.
What has been the biggest growth you've had since you first started?
Since I first started, even since I just first started this show, I've learned just more about comedy, and that like there are kind of rules to comedy or guidelines or scientific aspects that work with certain aspects of comedy, like freeze, like if something lands, don't move. Just stay. And that's Jerry Zach's thing too. You just freeze and wait for that moment to kind of settle and then going into the next thing. Jerry Zach says timing is knowing when to speak.
Who has helped you the most since you started?
Oh man. Definitely some directors, like, I want to say Jerry Zachs again, and Tanya Nardini, who directed me in Chicago. She was great and every director works so differently. But I also think that it doesn't have to necessarily do with what's on stage. The people who kind of like got me there are the people who had the most impact, right? The people who I worked at the Music Man Singing Ice Cream Shop. They employed me for many years. Excess Lounge in New York employed me for many years. Don't Tell Mama Piano Bar employed me for many years. It's like it's the connections I've made there, and having no survival jobs and things to like be able to create a career of when I'm not doing theater, right? And like, but still everybody has always been so encouraging and pushing me forward and saying, keep going, keep sticking with this, but because there's something there.
How has your parents and friends' support helped you push forward?
Yeah, I mean, that is insanely, I have like the most supportive parents, right? There's nothing they wouldn't do. And that's what this show's about, right? The things that parents will do for their kids. Yeah, without that, I don't know if I don't think I would be doing this, or that I would have gotten this far, because you need to hear that. You need that encouragement of those people telling you, you have something, you can do this, you should do this, you should keep doing this. And if you're, a couple years go by that you're not doing it, you can still keep pursuing it. It's so important to have that support.
When you see young people looking up and going, man, I want to be just like him, what does that do to you as a performer?
That's great. That it's a great feeling. And it's also like, how do you tell somebody that, who's younger, like, there's so much that can happen and that will happen, in your life. That's just like, you can go in so many different directions and you just don't know what's going to push you, but like, you're just going to figure out that you're in the right place at the right time.
How have you overcome adversity in your career, becoming the best performer you can be?
Overcoming, I don't know. I'm very lucky that I can't, not off the top of my head, to think of so much adversity that I have faced. It's just being persistent and pursuing, keep going and going and going and saying, because I know that this is what I want, right? There's people who don't know what they want in life or what they want to do with their life, but I've always known. So having that goal in mind and saying, okay, well, I'm doing this. Is this getting me closer to that goal, right? So just being persistent.
Why have you been able to make your dreams come true?
I was lucky to have good parents again, and even though they knew nothing about theater, they would see theater, great, and they liked that, but they had no involvement. But they just kept saying, "Yeah, okay, whatever you want to do." And I learned more about it, and so they learned more about it. So I had that support right from the beginning that was so important.
What do you want people to take away from Mrs. Doubtfire?
I want them to laugh. I think that they're going to get a huge kick. That's the most important thing, right? I just want them to laugh for 2.5 hours straight and escape the world. But then they're going to say, oh, we were laughing at all these things, but they were actually really true and heartfelt. And the show's really about love. Every story is a love story, right? This is a story about a love between a father and his kids. And I think that people are going to take away that idea that it's all about love.
How has this show changed you?
Oh my God, it's taught me so many things about comedy, and so many things, again, about those themes of love and family and what a parent will do for their kids.
What's the one thing you still want to improve?
What do I want to improve? My ability to pick up harmonies more easily and my movement skills.
Time for one big question with Brian Kalinowski from Mrs. Doubtfire. Everybody has one. Don't tell me you don't, because I'll call you a liar. What's your dream role?
Oh, yeah. Alban in La Cage aux Folles.
Why?
Because I don't know why I've always really been pulled to drag roles like Harvey Fierstein, not Mrs. Doubtfire. I'm in Mrs. Doubtfire. Hairspray, Edna Turnblad, those parts. And I just think that again, it's a love story. And in that I would get to be kind of like the ingenue, the male ingenue, who it's all about, the love story.
Dad was in a polka band, hates the sound of balloons popping, and wants you to watch Mrs. Doubtfire. Brian Kalinowski, thanks for taking the time to talk with us today.
Thanks. It was great. You're a great interviewer. Man, keep firing away.
And that, my friends, is Beyond the Mic. If you're enjoying these conversations, please check out another Beyond the Mic episode to find more actors, artists, and people you need to know. We'd also appreciate a like and subscribe on the Good Pods app.